So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream, a live birthday stream, and I'm working in Colin Thompson's FANTASTIC. And earlier I spent a couple of days doing a photocopy, colouring in watercolouring on a photocopy paper because I wanted to see what it happened behind. So I had to keep it fairly dry, but if it works on a photocopy paper, you know it's going to work in the books, because the colouring books are all different kind of thicknesses. Now this Colin Thompson book is very, very thick. Having said that, you can't do traditional watercolour. This is watercolouring, which is very damp. So I have my little pot with about a tablespoon of water. I am dipping my riggers into this. I am scraping that off and I am twisting it onto a wet, damp towel. And that will give me enough dampness in the brush for me to colour. I had intended on showing all that, but I won't because I've zoomed in so that and I decided to have a play with each individual shelf, and I made a couple of mistakes. So I don't like the bright blues, but I do like the muted colours, and I made a big faux pas there. Didn't like that at all. So that another reason that if I'd have done that in my little book, I would have been upset. So I know not to use a bright colour. Just keep colouring in, and the little one up here worked quite nicely with all the fruit, because the names are all books with names of fruit in and animals and things like this. So I did quite enjoy just colouring on the photocopy paper because it makes you feel you're in control. If you make a complete mess of it, this is just a practice. And I just got carried away, and I just decided that there are certain things I didn't like, and I was trying to find out the nice wood colour for the shelves because I did want to unify the entire page back together. Some things I liked and some things I didn't. Didn't like the bottle, the green book is too bright. I also had to go with the traditional watercolours, and I think I found them too bright. They're quite nice, but they are too bright. Although I managed to dull down some of them, a lot of the colours, and that led to watercolour mixing again, and I didn't really want to do that. So although there was a few nice ones, I decided that I wasn't going to do that. I want to make you sick, sorry. I was going to go back to my traditional way of working in watercolouring because it's easy, it's quick, and there's no mess. So I have my little book of colours, and I'm using probably more watercolour pencils from Derwent, the 72 watercolour pencils, because they are quite nice. They are muted. There's some unusual colours, and there's a nice skin tone there which is called Flesh Pink, number 16. That's a nice one, and that gives me some quite nice colours. So I've zoomed in, and without further ado, I will start. So I have my damp kitchen baby wipe, and I have 3 riggers, and that's all I need. Because some of these, oh well, these are smaller, but some of you want to carry them on, and the rigger was designed for the old masters when they were doing the galleons, and they wanted to have a continuously thin line of the tall ships, all the sheets and the ropes of all the tall ships. And so, of course, when they started at one end, they wanted to do really long lines. And that's why it holds, and that's why it works for watercolouring, because it holds a lot of colour and releases it slowly. So let me have a look where my little page has gone. There. And I just have just the smallest size. I was going to do these flowers, and I did them yellow last time, and I quite like them as yellow. So I'm going to pick that yellow again. And I think that's Cadmium Deep, number 6. In the Derwent watercolours. And I think these pencils have been kind of overlooked. So again, we've got that little, I hope that's in frame. And just gently stroking the colour. And unlike traditional watercolours, where you've got to wet the page, or you've got to wet, and then you've got to drop the colour in, make that wet, and just have tons of water everywhere. This is very dry. You don't have to use a heat gun or a hairdryer to dry it, which is nice. And you can work quite fast. I don't really like to work fast. I like to see progress, but this is designed to be relaxing. This is designed to be creative, to be in a relaxed, creative zone. This is not a race. And so I quite like the fact that it does take you a little bit of patience. And those yellow ones are now done. I don't know if you can see, they don't seem to be showing up very well. Let's see if I can play with the colour. So what's happened to, just bear with me 2 seconds. I'm trying to watch chat on my phone, and it's not working very well. So let me have a look. It doesn't seem to show that daisy very well, does it? If I go in there, just bear with me 2 seconds. Because I'm really zoomed in, I just want to play. I'm going to take that off. Ooh. I just want to play with the colour. Just bear with me 2 seconds. I think okay. Let's sharpen things up slightly, hasn't it, I think? Yes. And I think I'll take that there. So I hope that's made things a little bit better. Oops. Right. So I'll carry on. So you can see that just, I hope it's just not showing up very well. But I think because these are older books, they lend themselves to deeper colours, not kind of extreme vivid colours. So let's have a look. See. That's a nice green there. That's called Sap Green, number 49. So just gently stroking, and if you can see that's wet, just get that to show. That's the tiniest amount of wet. That's all you need. And then you can just gently touch the leaf. I think I waited too long. Because it's damp and I'm under about 6 lights, you can't really mess about. But that's a good thing, because that means once you've done this one and you've found your next, I'm just going to wet that again, and you found your next colour, that is going to be dry, so if you put your hand on it, you're not going to smudge it. And again, that's what I love, especially in the hospital. You know, you've waited for 3 hours doing this and being chilled and not thinking about what's going to happen, and they call your name and you think, ah, you're watercolouring. I can shut the book and I can shut this book and nothing gets damaged. So the paintbrush gently into the top of my bag and I'm away. And I love that. I so love that. I think that's a green leaf. So I'm going to make that a green leaf. So again, that's another reason why I designed it, so that I can take it to hospital. Or doctor's appointments or anything where you're sitting, waiting. So I'm going to start with this one now. I didn't really want to copy. I want to just kind of flick through colours. Oh yes, but I have got to do some browns because of the trees. So I'm going to go for a little bit bigger. I'm going to go for the biggest figure. And I haven't used this one on this page. So this is going to be interesting. So I've dunked it in the water, twisted it, and that is damp. If I do, not even leaving just a tiny mark. And we're going for Van Dyke Brown number 55 Derwent watercolour pencil. And the other thing I always have is a spare piece of paper. And I just double check that that's the right amount of water and it's the right colour. I might try the brown, the bronze, number 52. Let's try that one. I quite like that one. I think I might use that one. Don't know. And that's Sepia, number 53. I quite like Sepia. I think I'm going for Sepia. So that's number 53. And again, I'm just, if I pull that down there, I'm just creating a little small amount on there. Double check it's going to stroke nicely. And then it's darker on the outside and lighter in the middle. So we want to go straight down to there and straight down to there. And if you stroke across, you're going to get a natural grade. Now this might have been a little bit big, this brush, but it seems to be working quite well. And again, there's going to be, and it's not very fiddly. It's just, you know, today's colours and colouring books are getting rather, I wouldn't say complicated, I would just say fussy. And so, you know, they've got a lot more detail in them. So you just have to kind of go with that kind of thing. And then you can think, I need to use the finer one for that. Oops. So we can just put that onto there. And hopefully just show enough colour to have made a difference. And the beauty of this is, if you always touch this in the same way, you always get the same colour on your brush. And if you're doing a mandala, and that's really important because obviously you want that. I'm going to use the middle-sized brush now, just purely because I want a nice shade on here. And the other one was too big. So that's taking the colour across. I got a nice shadow there, so I would like a nice shadow on that side as well. So just stroke that down here. And then obviously it wants to go to there and it'll slowly disappear. And I think possibly a smidgen under there. Now, this looks a bit complicated, but it isn't. All I'm doing, I would be picking up a different pencil and or a felt pen or blend, and I don't like blending. Can't do blending. Hurts my hands too much. So this is just going around with a paintbrush. And that was fairly quick. I've now just created one book down. So I hope everybody can see that. Oh, that was looking rather yellow on there, isn't it? That's not really that nice, is it? Bear with me 2 seconds. Let's see if I can play with the colour a bit. Oh, the thing is, when you take your glasses off, you need your glasses to see what you're doing. I'm terrible with finding chat. It won't work on my computer, and I don't know why. So let's just see if we can play with the colour. Because that is a fawn colour. Oh, is it the white balance? I've taken out. Hopefully that's better. Hopefully that's better. So, glasses off. Put them back in the case so they don't get scratched. So I need a nice green for the tree. And it was a bit pale last time, so I'm going to go for I'm going to use a large rigger, and I'm going for a bit bigger one, I think. I'm going for a deeper, richer kind of green. Oh, I think this one might be nice. So again, I'm just going to test it to see if it's the colour that I want. No, perhaps not. It's too blue, I think. No, perhaps not. Perhaps it's going to be mineral green, number 45. Oh yes, that's quite nice. So we'll use mineral green. And I really want you to just touch the edge. And if you keep going, you're releasing more and more water, even though it's only damp. And that will give you a natural progression instead of having harsh lines. And again, I quite like that. So if I touch that again, twist to a point, and number 45. And I do think that this way of working is therapeutic. You know, there's nothing like big pots of water to spill, and there's nothing major. And I can sit on the sofa and do this. This sits one way, and the watercolour book sits across. The page is open. I do like to twist the page sometimes, which is again sometimes where I quite like working from photocopy paper, because I can twist it round. So instead of me trying to twist my hand round, which I'm doing now, that doesn't always happen. But I'm quite happy with that. It's a green, so I need to do the leaf underneath. So I may go back to the smaller one to see how we go. So on this one, I have another brown one because I say it was a mistake. So I think I will go for a muted purple probably next. Or we could think about colour. I could think about colour, and we could think about. Now this is a. I think this is a completely different pencil. So let's see what that does. perhaps not. Don't want pink. Definitely don't want pink. I'll go back to my original idea, but I think I'm going to go for a red. There's a pale vermilion, number 13. This looks quite nice. This looks quite nice, pale vermilion. And I'll just touch that. I don't even think I like that one actually. I think I'm going to go for Madder Carmine. Again, that's a little bit bright. The worst thing is choosing the colours, really. That's a Rose Madder. What's that one do? No, I think it was this one. Let me just have a look and see. If you're not sure, what I can do is I can pick a book. I can just have a play, because you really want to get this right. If you're tearing the pages out, photocopying them, then you've made a boo. It doesn't matter. But if you want to keep it and do it nice, then you need to you do need to really have a think. And so, do I want that one next to that one? Can't decide. I could possibly do this one here. I'll put this one under here. And I think that's a little bit too bright. But I can turn it down a smidgen. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a colouring book. It's not a work of art. But sometimes it's quite nice to get things how you like them. And this is the biggest brush I actually work with, so again, that's another thing. Well, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. What have we got next here? We want a dull blue, really. And on every scribble of pencil, I have a water scale. So the deepest colour to the lightest. And again, all I do is I've made a little circle and I've started to go across. And by the time I've got to the end, it's got very pale. So I have some nice scales of colour. The colours are not coming up quite as good as I wanted, actually. They do look quite different. But at least you can see the technique, so it's not all lost, really. I do quite like that one. And I'm still dipping into the water. That's how dirty it is. Which again is wonderful, because I can't get up every 5 minutes and clean a palette. It's impossible. So just try it on our piece of paper. I do like that colour. Oops, so let me go in with that one. So just a touch under there. And because there is a little bit of a grayscale, it kind of dumbs down the colour just lovely. So you don't really have to do a lot of work, because the grey, hatching and cross hatching has been done. So that's not too bad. I've left the covers, the titles. I haven't decided whether to do them a grayscale or just off yellow. Can't decide. I've probably put those in last, so I'm just going to work across. And that one I've got a bright blue, but I think I'm probably going to do let me have a look. See, that's the beauty of my book. I just flick through my book and choose colours. I was going to keep away from the peerless, because they just tend to be a little bit too robust and go through. They don't show through, but they don't. I think these are Inktense. I've got too carried away, so I've got to be careful I don't do that. But most of the others, they're fine. But I think that's practice if you do a couple of books with what I'm looking for, not a nice orange, just some gorgeous burnt oranges here. So we have burnt orange number 0260 in the Inktense pencils, the Derwent Inktense pencils, and that's given us that colour, which is it's quite bright, isn't it, I think. If in doubt, very quickly just colour a book. It's probably a little bit too much. This is the fun part, I think. This is the kind of licking through. I'm not normally pedantic like this. I normally just kind of go ahead with it, but I do want this to be a good page, I have to say, because it's the book. I think it's one of my birthday books, and I think I'd kind of quite like it to turn out okay rather than. I've gone for Sienna Gold 0240 in the Derwent pencils. And again, this is a little bit bright, but I'm sure it will kind of... it's a little bit bright, but I'm sure I can, when it's dry, I can go over it if I wanted to. I say, because it's already been all done for you with the grayscale, it's very easy because the colour automatically darkens in a darker place, purely because somebody has already put the colour there. And I've just made a rather large mistake there, haven't I? I touched the wrong orange, so I'm going to have to make it all this colour. Never mind, I did quite like that yellow, but hey ho. These things, it's not the end of the world really, it's just I did like the yellow, but hey, never mind. Luckily I can go over it and just give it that orange tint. That's because I'm not concentrating, and sometimes when you're streaming you're thinking more of if everybody's okay or not, but it's okay, it's coming along, it's growing, it's fine. Now we have a little house, so I think I could possibly have kind of a brick red. I'll just have a quick test on the other side of the page, and there's absolutely nothing there at all. But it is a really thick page, this. It is a really thick page. So let me have a look. I'm going to go with the, I'm possibly going to go with the smallest brush. This is the 30, because I want to play with the bricks a little bit, and so that might be nice. Do I want to ready brick more? seems to be quite a lot of colours on here. That one looks quite nice. I think I'm probably going to go with, what does that one say? It says Raw Sienna 58. I kind of like that one, I think. So I can just gently stroke the colour into the bricks. Sorry, I keep catching my light because I'm just going to go in the golden brown 59 just to give that a slightly darker shade there. I think it may be a shade darker. And then back into the middle brush, which is a 1 rigger. And because I've twisted the point onto a baby wipe, it hasn't drawn too. If you twist it onto kitchen roll, you take out too much water. But if you take that, that will give you just enough to kind of keep it. I thought I'd like that one. This is a brown ochre. And that just gives that a little bit of a shade. I think it probably needs to be a little bit darker, that one actually. So I'm going with Van Dyke Brown 55. And if you stroke the colours up, you should get paler as you go up. So I hope you found this interesting, everybody. Can't see. Is this a little bit different to what you're used to, Jen, with the colouring then? That I can tell instantly that's too wet. So, and this is quite a fine space up in that corner. But we could have a natural light just hitting that top. And then we need the door, so we'll have a Sepia 53. Just check that one. And that's quite a deep colour. Oh, so that was quite nice. I would think that's supposed to be made out of metal, but let me have a look. I have silver grey. Oh, I have a French grey. I think the French grey looks quite nice. So we'll just give that a little bit of colour. Just so it's not stark white, and maybe give that a little bit of gunmetal brown at the bottom. Sorry, gunmetal grey. I'm not going to play with that, I'm going to leave that as it is. I need a longer, I need a different colour now, so let me have a look. Colours are definitely still not right on there. Let me see if I can get the colours right. Looks far too orange. think that's probably about right. Oh, well, that's okay. I mean, that's almost dry, that brush. So that's dry. So that's another lovely thing, is it's dry now, so there's no, that's quite a big, it's quite a large area, is that? So I've gone back to the, oops. The large brush. I really just want it damp. Twisted it to a point, so it's going to be a nice point. It's got a rogue hair on that. I didn't know to cut it off or not. There is a rogue hair, but I think it'll behave itself. So we need a colour. And there's I don't know what to do with that colour. I think I could possibly have, this is Cedar Green number 50, Derwent watercolour pencil. It looks quite a nice colour. Or maybe I don't want a brown because I've got to have a brown at the outside. I'll go for this one. And again, because I've messed about, I've got enough time to get into there. And goodness gracious. Sorry, we have a bin working. Goodness gracious me. I don't normally have that. I'm trying not to get any harsh lines, but sometimes you do kind of get this kind of shadowy effect. Oh, that's come out quite nice. It takes a bit of practice with these, but you can build the colour up with watercolour. Again, although working very dry, you can still build colour up in the traditional way, which is wonderful, because you don't have to dry it with anything, it just dries. And I played with that a little bit, and I quite like that. Just wondering about that window. I think there's a frame there. Yes, I quite like that. What am I going to do down here? I think that is a distinct. There's always little trapdoors here and all sorts going on, so you've got to concentrate a little bit, because it's not the easiest thing in the world, but you know, these, I quite like this little challenge. It's, you just concentrate and oops, sorry, I had to frame there a bit. If I stay there, we can get a little bit of this colour book in as well. I like a warmish grey, I think. Or we'll just try the silver grey just down here. Perhaps not. That's very pale, really pale. It's just taking that stark white off. And that lends itself to another colour. And I did that one a red. So I could look for a muted red, couldn't I? Let's have a look at that one. So I hope it's not as boring as watching paint dry. You have to excuse me, I have to keep fidgeting my legs because they're not behaving themselves at the moment, and they're causing me a lot of pain. Dog alert, I do apologise. I thought the bin men had gone 10 minutes ago, and I have a naughty boy. Sorry about that. Oh, you little terror. Oh, it's just my neighbour, that's why. That's my neighbour. We let the dog out, so... Oh dear, I'm so sorry, it's the bin men. Oh gosh. I didn't think there were... Of course, it's Monday today, isn't it? I'm so sorry. If he carries on, I will have to stop, but hopefully he won't. Hopefully, in a moment, he will be calm. I'm so sorry. He ruins everything. When I was making YouTube videos, I used to spend hours taking out barks. So I'm so sorry. If he doesn't behave himself. Oh, I quite like that. We'll have a purple. So we've got a bit of a mauvey purple there. I wouldn't mind. He's only knee-high to a grasshopper. Shh. Good boy. Shh. There's a good boy. Oh, my. He just thinks... And you can't really shout at him because he's protecting everybody. I'm going for deep... Not deep violet. I don't know what colour that is, actually. That's terrible, isn't it? I don't know what colour this is. We can't really shout at him because he's doing his job. Which is not for a little cavalier, a little King Charles. He's supposed to behave himself, but he's a terror. So that's quite nice. There's a tiny bit there. It goes behind there. Sorry, Grumpy. There is a shadow on there, so I'm just going to put the shadow in while I'm here. And then give that some little bit of definition. And I haven't dampened the brush anymore. All I'm doing is just stroking the paint, the scribbled colour. If you can see, all I'm doing, it's still damp, I'm just stroking there, and then that's giving me colour to manipulate and build up the colour on the book, and possibly a little bit more under here. Sorry, I think they've driven off now. So that's got a really nice little shade just there. And because I'm working extremely damp, it's drying faster than actually I'm. So that's got, again, has a lovely natural colour to it, with a natural sheen. So I'm going to, so I've got this little pot here, and just rinse that out, and there's hardly anything in there at all. And this is what I'm using. So I'm dunking in there and then twisting it onto my, and there was only the yellow because I didn't use the yellow. So it works very similar to a water brush. If you keep doing that with a water brush, it cleans itself, and this is the same. Because that's damp, it just cleans itself. So I should pop that back on there. Oh, excuse my stomach. So what we need now is, I need the small paintbrush now, because I've got this light to do. I have the frame of that to do and a highlight. Haven't really decided what to do there, so I'm just going to go with the books for the moment. I will come back to the labels, but I will put the light in there, and I want, I think I've started using the Cadmium Yellow. I think that's the one I've been using to give a warm glow that you would have through a window. So of course I do need the tiny brush, but I also need quite a lot of colour on there. I don't want it wishy-washy and muted. And the cadmium yellow is there. And so I need a damp brush, and I really need to get some yellow on the end of there. And then just touch very gently the little squares to imply there's somebody home. And if I carry on, I can do this one here as well. I could probably do this with a bit bigger brush, but never mind. And as I'm teasing that water down the brush, it's bringing the colour out. I'm not adding any more water. There's still a lot of dampness in that brush. That's travelling down the bristles and allowing me to pick up some colour and then put it on there. And that's given a nice glow. So clean the brush, and there's hardly anything on there at all. I do want to do these I do want to do the bricks. I think again we're going to have a warmish brown brick. Let me have a look. Probably a golden brown again, I think, possibly. And give them a little bit of warmth because it's a greenhouse. And that's brightened up that corner there. I might just take that edge off that book. Take that white edge off. Right, so the only other thing I need to do now is decide what frame colour to do that, but I quite like it white because all the old Victorian lean-tos were white, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to go on to, I'm going to do this one. I didn't see that. It's got some green ivy growing up it, so I'll go back to the big brush, the big rigger, which is a 3, twist. It's a lot of dampness in there, but hardly any water, and I'm going to go for I think I'll go for a raw umber number 56 Derwent watercolour pencil. We'll just have a bit of a practice. Yes, I quite like that colour, so that's on this side. Raw umber. And bigger brush, it's collecting a lot of colour. But I do want it quite faint really, because I want to redraw over there all the ivy. So I've got to be a little bit careful and just tease that colour up there. because I've been under this lamp. The lamp is only about 6 or 8 inches. Oops. The lamp is about 6 inches away. It's the length of the paintbrush. And it's a bit difficult to get to is this one. So I'm going to turn the book round because I do need, sorry about that, I do need a nice natural angle to if I show you on this one, if that's the book, I need to get some really nice long strokes because I don't want any hard lines really. So that was about right. So I've turned it that way so I can get into there. And I could have only done this with a practice. I know what amount of liquid and how damp I need a paintbrush and for what effect I want. And that takes a bit of practice. So again, that's another good idea to do. Did I say raw umber or brown ochre? I can't remember. Sometimes, oh, I said raw sienna, I think. Let me just check. Is that the same? Yeah, it's raw sienna. Because it's so quick, there isn't even the small amount of water. Sometimes you can see where you've been in the little circles, but not always. So I want that to come up to there, but then I need it to go down. And I'm going to leave that because I don't think that's the right colour. I can't remember which colour that was, so I've got to leave that. And I'll have to watch the video. I shall have to watch my video because I can't see what colour that is. I just did it that way. How strange, I didn't know what colour it was. Never mind, let me see if I can do it with that one. If it's the golden brown one, it's the golden brown one. It's definitely not. I wonder if it's the golden brown. Yes, but of course I've ruined it now. Because I didn't. It doesn't matter, I can do it a darker colour, but I would have liked to have done it as I wanted to, which is just stroke that up and down. Really, but never mind. I think I'm going to give it a little bit of that colour. I'm going to give it some raw umber. I can't believe I did that. I can't remember what colour it was. Never mind. And then we just want to touch at the top here. And I think there's chickens up there. I'm pretty sure they're chickens. So I'm quite pleased with that. And I need to do the other green, and I've forgotten which green I used. I think it was Sap Green. I think it's Sap Green. And again, the brush is a little bit too damp than I would like it, but because I want to really keep that without any harsh lines. It's not too bad. I'm just going to take this into here because I don't like those harsh lines. So I quite like that. Now I think we have some, I'm using Cedar Green number 50. I'm just going to have a bit of a play. It's very similar to that book, but I think that might work quite well. So now I need another pail of green, and I didn't really like that one, did I? Maybe we'll go with a different green. And let me have a green 48. Just try a little bit of that. Seems to have worked quite well. And grass green, I think, maybe just up there, possibly. And then grass green on the other side. A bit of a green edge, that's it. Just take that up there, hopefully. So I think I like that better than the other. So I've got mineral green 45, and I'm just going to double check it before I put it on there, because yes, it's okay. It's just rather deep green, but it will make some nice shrubbery about the house. The little cottage has a little brush. I have to go back to the small, the medium brush this time, and I would like a fawn, I think, for the little house. Looks more like a thatched cottage, but I'm sure that's fine. And a really deep chimney stack, I think. If I do that, that looks like a thatch, doesn't it? And then I think I'll just give that a little bit of... That's that. And now for the sky. Well, I'm not going to make the same mistake I made before. Quite a damp. Let me have a look for a nice blue. Well, I suppose it has to be sky blue, doesn't it? So I'll go with sky blue. And have a look. I think that's going to have to be sky blue. And I'm going to have to turn the page, so I'm really sorry about this. Because I want a really nice, I've got my sky blue. And then I want to be able to sweep straight across there very quickly. There wasn't very much on there, was there? didn't really want to be that wet, but you can see there's a slight sheen. It's very subtle. So apart from the two chickens, or the two little fat chubby birds, and the that's finished. So I quite like that. I'm quite pleased with that. It's always daunting, I think, the first time, but you just got to be brave and do it. I mean, if you really make a pig's ear of it, you have to buy another one. And this, I think this was £10 or £12 after shipping. So it's a little bit out of my budget, but birthday, so it was my birthday present. So I might do that one next. So here we have a kind of a house with a kind of menacing looking house, really. There's a vase with a flower. So straight away I think I'm going to make that flower the original flower. I think I'll do that. Just a little bit concerned. I've got damp on there. So just make sure that looks alright. What have we got there? So, and I've no idea what this is, and I think that's a ladybug. Snow White and the Seven Warts, Double Strength Leeches, The Spy Who Came in from the Cold, Who Came in with a Cold, Back to the Suture, The Seven Pills of Wisdom, Tartar the Otter. So they're all a take on the puns of Aragon, and a Paranomasia for all seasons. Wasn't that a man for all seasons? Oh. Anyway, they're all puns on books. So I think I could do that little yellow canary first. Oh, hi Dorothy. Hi, welcome to Bunny's Designs. I didn't realise chat was working, but I think it is now. I'm colouring in my birthday colour, Colin Thompson FANTASTIC, which is lots of books. So I did a photocopy page and played with different colours, made some mistakes, and some were okay. So from that, I have done the first page. So welcome to Bunny's Designs. I need to keep an eye on the time because I think Dee Dee streams on a Monday, but it was my birthday, so I was desperate to stream for a little bit. And is it just me and you? Well, that's fine. I'm fine. I'm just recording it for YouTube. So I've done that page. I'm just going to do another one. Probably not for much longer because Dee Dee used to be about 3 o'clock in the UK. But I think she's a bit earlier. So I need to keep an eye on when she's popping on. So I'm going to just colour that one now. I'll have time to do that. I'm working out of my little book. I'm not mixing any colours. I am just using the colours. Oh wow! Have you started colouring it yet, Dorothy? It's brilliant. I think it's always wonderful when somebody else has the same book and you think, oh yeah. But I tend to be a bit strange with my colours. So I was going to try and do this little tiny flower up here. So I'm working with 3 riggers. And this is the finest one. And I'm working with a pot of water. And it doesn't get dirty, so that's good. There might be a dog bark alert. So the postman's just arrived. And that could that could be mean some barking. So bear with me. Yes, the postman. Now there could be a bark alert. Wake up, he's here. postman's here, and the puppy hasn't realised. So, it is it's my birthday now. It's the only day I get post, so I could have some, or I could not. Murphy's Law says because I'm streaming, the postman will look at the door. So I'll try and shout. Sorry, dog alert. I'll try and shout if he has to pop in. He may not. Sorry about that. Dog alert. What I might do is I'm going to finish with this recording because it's gone on for a bit longer. And stay with me, Dorothy, darling. I'm just going to I'll finish the recording, but I quite like that little first page, and then I can finish the other pages together. Thank you for